Welcome to Co-op Mode, Round 90. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I am Todd, Moving Man Oxtra, joined by Mark, the Canadian Carabin. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. You're in moving mode. Your brain's in a million different places, I'm sure. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully this is a little break and escape for you. And we'll have some fun talking about some E3 stuff. Or non E3.
Yeah.
E3 is this year.
Summer of Games Fest of us for the rest of us. Exactly. Also joined by another man moving to parts unknown, and that's Mr. Chris Johns from One Hour, One Decision. Chris, welcome back.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show again. It looks like I didn't do enough to not get invited again, so I'm glad that worked out. But yeah, super excited to talk about all this stuff.
Come on, the bar's pretty low for expectations. Just joking, Todd. But no. Happy to have you back.
Yeah, Chris and I have podcasted, outside of this realm on another show we did, and we may be going back to that show as contributors. That was always a fun time. And if you want to see something awesome with Chris and I, by all means, watch our Let's Play of Doki Toki Literature Club, which we need to finish one day.
We do need to. Once we're all moved and settled into our new places.
Chef's kiss, Mark. I don't know about you, but I think you'd love it.
We haven't even gotten to the weird part.
We haven't. We're writing poetry with a bunch of schoolgirls. I mean, that's not creepy whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh well, we're glad to have Chris back, and we're ready to talk about, like we said, not E3. But before we do that, we want to talk. We talked about the worst of the E3 events last week in Vibrant Return. This week, Mark, the best moments or the most surprising moments that I could remember in regards to, and these are mostly hardware related, and I tried to get these right.
Yeah, so I do want to stipulate that this is mostly hardware related, because I think to pick the best of E3 might not be a hardware year, because hardware years are tough. There's a lot of hype behind hardware, but a lot of time the game lineup is like, here's a port from last gen, and here's like some concepts that are 6 years away or never ever going to freaking happen. So this is hardware related. It was funny when I was going back and watching these, I was like, these are so hardware heavy. Like every one of these is very much like, this is a hardware launch, and you're getting the usual like hardware launch BS kind of stuff with a lot of these of like, we're ready to step into the next generation. No, it's not the next generation. It's the new generation. We're different, blah, blah, whatever. So keep that in mind. Don't come hating us for saying like, no, 2014 was better than 2013 because it was all about the games. We know.
Sure. Yeah, so, the megaton of the big game, that the one last thing, all of those things are always like, wow, what's it going to be? And it creates that, I guess, hype moment that can often jade us. So we're trying to, hardware is always fun though, and it happens every 5 to 6 years. So those are typically big events. And so with that, I picked 3. So you can at me if you want, if you don't like these, or if I got the year wrong, potentially, which I might have. That's okay. E3 2005, this where Xbox 360 jumped ahead. They cut the old generation short to 4 years on the original OG Xbox and went full head into HD gaming with the Xbox 360 at a pretty cheap price point. I believe they had the core model for $300 and then I forgot what model with the bigger hard drive for $400. So a pretty popular price point. And I believe they also had an MTV reveal with, I believe it was an MTV reveal that was very weird, very odd. No, was that the Connect event? Maybe I'm getting it wrong.
That may have been Connect.
That might have been the Connect that they did on MTV. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. So this got that wrong.
It was weird. There was a lot of weird stuff in this one. So it started off with a woman just like running up to the stage with like a satchel and then she took the thing out of the satchel. But then, like halfway through this presentation, another dude like rushed up, and he was like dressed all in football gear and stuff, and kind of looked like Maui from Moana with like long hair and stuff. And like he like revealed his face like very dramatically from the helmet, and it wasn't like someone that you knew kind of thing. And then he took one out of a satchel. It was a really weird presentation, but it was great.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was Xbox trying to make a statement, getting ahead of the crowd and jump to the next generation after a so-so OG Xbox, and they went full in, and it was really their generation to own, which was amazing. Well, until the Wii came along, which was just, trying to change the game. And then we had... in 2006, the Wii. The Wii was announced a little bit before, but officially at E3 it was announced. And then it really got unveiled with the software, which I would say Wii Sports was the game that sold that. And like I said, I couldn't remember if they announced the Virtual Console at that time too, which I think they might have.
I don't recall them doing... Again, I kind of briefly touched like video recaps of these, and I don't recall the Virtual Console in this one. That might have, and I might have just skipped that over. But I know they did look at Mario Galaxy. They started it off with a very, very awkward Miyamoto Wii music thing, but then he kept directing music for people playing demos, and like with his back to the crowd, and like there were two people behind him kind of on an elevated stage, and he was directing them playing like Red Steel and different games, like demoing those, and he was still kind of like going to like directing techno music. It was a really, really, really presentation, but they showed off some absolute banger games: Galaxy, Metroid Prime, Twilight Princess. And then like Wii Sports like capped it off, like you said, and that was a great showcase. And this E3 was also, I mean, they were going hard on the DS side too. DS Lite was announced. Like this was like Nintendo at their peak of like, we're different, we're proud of it, and like we're gonna show you some stuff that you're not expecting.
Blue Ocean, baby. Yeah, they did announce the Virtual Console. They even announced the Virtual Console controller that was that wired kind of round controller that plugged in it plugged into the Wiimote, which is very odd. Yeah.
They swinging on this one, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, because the Virtual Console was a huge deal. People went nuts because like, I can play all my old Nintendo games. And it was just for like $5, $6, $7, and kind of set the bar for Virtual Console. So very, very cool. Yeah, kind of like where Xbox did our Xbox Live Arcade. And really went on with that. We did their own thing, which is very cool. And then lastly, we got 2013, which I got the date wrong because for some reason I thought 2014 was when it was really announced. But the PS4 was announced, undercut the Xbox One a day later by $100. And they said you can share your games with a snipe we haven't seen since the old Crash Bandicoot sniping at Nintendo.
That wasn't a snipe. That was a finish him. That was just friggin' brutal. Like they started off like the used games. You have the rights. You can use it, trade it, sell it, lend it, whatever you need. You don't need to connect. And for each one of these, there's like a 2-minute long pause while the audience went crazy, chanting Sony, 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 and just going nuts. Like awkwardly long pauses for fan cheering. It was crazy. No online required, all that kind of stuff. And then they finished this with like a double decapitation somehow, like Destiny being showed as their one last thing. Bungie on a PlayStation stage, like it's already dead. Stop beating the horse. Like you killed it already. Just stop. Come on, man. That was so brutal. Also, Knack did an appearance here.
That's true. That was really the finishing move right there for Mark Cerny's credibility as a game designer. But if you notice what this has to do with each one of these launches, both of them were coming off pretty uneventful previous consoles. You know, some belovedness, but didn't perform great. They had issues, they had other problems. And this is where there was kind of like, we're going to just go balls to the wall and do something either different or fix their problems. So it was really, and they have struggled on certain parameters since then, but you know what? I think they're all in a much better position now. So with that, Byron return. Chris.
Yeah. Wait, what? You want to ask?
Perfect.
Ask me a question.
Yes. Of these 3 events, what would you buy? What would you rent? And what would you return?
As much as I do a podcast for Xbox and Game Pass and stuff like that, I gotta agree with Mark. The 2013 was probably the buy for me, because that was, Sony just had Microsoft, like, they on the silver platter. It was terrible. Return probably, because I didn't really play it. The Wii was cool, but I'd probably return that, and then I'd rent the Xbox 360, being a year ahead of the PS3. Because I think that year really helped Microsoft get a foothold in that generation. It made them very cocky, because then the year after, or year next generation with the Xbox One, they completely destroyed their credibility with the gaming community. One thing, though, I do want to point out, I think that it was the same year in 2013 where that guy came out and revealed Peggle 2 with incredible enthusiasm.
That's right.
That was awesome. That was an amazing moment too, because it was completely silent after that. He was just like, he just ran off the stage, I think, right after that. So that was
Peggle 2 is an awesome game. I played Peggle 2 like
of course it is.
He was hyped about it. No one else in the crowd seemed to be, though. That was the problem.
It popped up as like an Xbox, like one of those little Game Pass challenges, like the Wii. And I jumped back in, but like I played it way longer than I had to. It was just like one of those like play this game or something, or hit like
challenge.
Things.
Yeah,
like hit 50 orange things, and I did that like 2 minutes, and I played for like 3 hours. It was just like, I'm just gonna keep going on this. Let's do this.
Yeah,
Mark. Yep. All right. So this was tough, because I had to, especially going back to 2005, 2006, and comparing that to something in 2013, which was like a generational leap. So I had to kind of put that part aside of like, how much of these older presentations is like 2005, 2006 era quirkiness, and how much is just bad presentation or something that like should be left behind kind of thing. And like, obviously in a generational leap, you would think they'd learn something, at least presentation wise, even in, Xbox, absolutely crapping the bed with the Xbox One. Hopefully their presentation skills, some of it, they had learned some stuff, but watching it in terms of like historical significance, I suppose, is what I kind of tried to go in with this, of like putting myself back in that reveal kind of thing, right? Not looking at like, oh, Red Steel kind of sucked, but like, oh, it showed off really well in this. So I try to keep that same thing with like the PS4 reveal, like the Order 1886. It was meh, it was fine, but like one hell of a way to introduce. And that, I think, was the first, or one of the first games that they showed running on PS4 hardware. So very interesting picks. I got to give you that one for this round, Todd. It was really interesting picks. All that being said, I am actually going to buy the Wii reveal. It was such a changing moment for the industry, for like the Blue Ocean strategy. Like I said, they threw the DS Lite in there. DS was firing on all cylinders. Reggie was at his peak. He was going Reginator mode. This was a presentation to base presentations off of. This was fantastic. There was some awkward stuff in there, some weird Nintendo quirks, like I said, with the Wii music and stuff. But the demo for Wii Sports was a defining moment in that generation. So I'm gonna buy that one. I'm going to rent the Sony 2013 one because of all the stuff we already said. Just holy crap, what a finisher. And then Return, the Xbox 360. Even though I freaking love the Xbox 360, that was one of my favorite consoles, and I'm still an Xbox gamer thanks to the 360 and the friends that I made there and the experiences that I had. That was it. I mean, that they introduced achievements during this, like they changed the game there too, and that, but the rest of it was good, but not quite as memorable. I'll say it was a good presentation. It was solid. They had a clear vision, but like at the end of the day, it was just kind of like, well, the rock's not there, and like it's not, you don't have the Reginator, and you're not getting like finishing moves coming out. So it was fine, but I'm gonna return it. So there we go. Todd, how you feel?
I'm going to buy Sony the PS4 just because, like I said, it was like their reemergence after a really bad, they struggled because the PS3, you just saw them made so many errors, and then they finally started making some progress, and they just felt like they nailed it. And they really, really just captured my energy again. I'm like, wow, Sony's back, which is great. 2000, I'm going to go with Xbox 360 because what we saw that they showed, we had not seen before. HD gaming did not really exist. I wasn't even ready for it. And I'm like, this is amazing. And I just loved it because we finally got into an era of like I said, Xbox Live Arcade. So like online, like buying games digitally was kind of a cool experience. And they just really nailed their online presence as well. I mean, it just brought in a new era of gaming that I mean, and just so many of those, I mean, I'm trying to remember, the lineups at the time, but I mean, it was probably a bunch of like games that looked really pretty, but were probably horrible.
For this one, big focus on stuff like Cameo, but like they also they showed off a ton of stuff. Like you said, very pretty stuff. HD. There was Star Wars Battlefront 2. There was a few racing games. There were like a few first-person shooters. They came out with like a decent.
Perfect Dark was one of those, wasn't it? Zero.
I think it was a launch.
Was it a launch title? No.
Could have been, yeah. But that's like they showed off dozens of games, but like nothing quite as memorable as like. And again, I maybe this is the Sony presentation, and you had like I said, even the order showed off really well. But the 360 show off was they did show off a ridiculous amount of stuff.
It was in a technical showcase. It's like, wow, this is really cool. And everybody needed to upgrade their TVs, right? Because nobody had an HD TV at that point. So I was like, what the hell am I going to do with my composite cables? Because I had a Sony projection screen TV and it did not have the cable. It was HD compatible or something. So you had to get like a converter. Just the bad old days, folks. The bad old days of gaming. Then lastly, I am returning the Wii. I respect what they were going, but I was not a buyer of the Wii. I waited a long time to get a Wii just because I'm like, it felt like they're going all in onto a blue sky strategy that I just was not buying. I'm like, nope, I don't like that. It doesn't feel for me. And eventually came on board and played some fun games, but the Wii just was a system that I just never loved. But it was so funny because I think I like the Wii U better than the Wii. So I'm like of oddity because it's like they took it, they made it HD, they did all these things, but nobody cared because they couldn't tell that it wasn't a like Wii upgrade and add on like the CD, like the Sega CD. It's like the Wii U, you plug it into your Wii and there you go. No, but that's where, but I think these are all cool ideas. And I remember reading the USA Today. I was on a sales trip and I saw, when Nintendo's doing this in my USA Today, I'm like, wow, look at this thing. This is impressive because I don't even remember if it must have been broadcast, but I wasn't able to watch it because my internet sucked probably at the hotel. So, oh well. Thanks, USA Today.
The one thing I would almost want to return the PS4 reveal is I don't know about you guys. Was this like the birth of like where the real flame wars between consoles happened?
No, like, Genesis.
I mean, Genesis. No. What I mean is like where the real like internet trolls were just like going at each other. Oh, PlayStation sucks.
Yeah, because the internet finally existed, right? Finally gave people a way to act like an idiot. Yeah.
Right. That was a big moment for this because you could tell, even watching this now, PlayStation had such a great, well put together show, and everything was visually stunning. And then they stopped and did a slideshow projection that was like made in PowerPoint hours before this presentation. But it got the point across. But it was very simple, static graphics, very like, rudimentary kind of like, we don't use DRM, or here's a person passing a game to another stick figure. Like it was incredibly simple, but they definitely fan those flames to be like, yeah, like we know exactly what we're doing here. We are calling shots. We are poking that bear specifically to get people riled up. And like I said, they had to stop the presentation to let the fans go crazy. So it was they knew what they were doing and they did it really well. But like at the same time, you have a point that this was like the age that was going to take off and really get to people and really divide people.
Was this the Nexus event? Is that basically what
I think this might have been, yeah. I mean, if you think about it too, YouTube didn't really launch until 2006. So streaming video was kind of hard to get. You had to rely on a site didn't whatever they streamed at, 480p probably didn't look very good. And then Twitter, same thing. Twitter started in 2006, I believe, some around there. So yeah, you really took all those years of pent up aggression. We finally got a big launch year, and this is your trolls. They were just waiting for it. All right. So there you go, folks. Let us know we had a Twitter poll, and essentially it was Sony with double the scores, and we had Wii and Xbox tied. So essentially, apparently they got a 2-for-1 deal at Blockbuster and are renting both. So there we go.
One gets returned.
No, not at all. But we get to what we've been playing. And we're going to go through this fairly quickly because we want to get into the big news of all of these events. So very quickly, Chris, I've played one of the games you've played, but the other one I downloaded on my phone, and the other one I've been hearing a lot about.
Yeah. So I've been kind of slowly going through Weird West, but I kind of dropped it. I was like,
it's 8 hours long.
It was, I mean, it was 40. Apparently, it's like 40 plus hours. I'm like, I don't know if I can hold on to that long. But the two games that really have been kind of taking up my time whenever I have it, I've been V Rising, which is an early access game on Steam. It's surprisingly good. I'm not really into these world survival building games, but like the twist of being a vampire like really got me for some reason. So I was like, cool. And the fact that it's not just there's two options. There's PvE and PvP, but the PvE mode is still great because the bosses that you fight are all crafted very well, and they're fun to fight. And the other game, which is pretty controversial right now, is Diablo Immortal. I've been playing that as well, but I gotta say, this game plays really good on mobile. Not so much on the PC, but you gotta go through some hoops to get it to play on a controller. But the touch controls are really good, and it still gives me the feels of playing a Diablo game. So I'm like, cool, I'm down with that. I haven't paid for anything in the game, and I'm still having fun. Yeah. So I'm cool with that. So I know a lot of people are saying like you have to spend a lot of money to pay to win and do all that stuff, but like I haven't. I've still been enjoying.
Is that cosmetic, or are you paying for like chances for items to drop, or
yeah?
What is the thing?
I think it's like you can buy gems, like the gems you can socket into your armor pieces and stuff like that. So and I think the drop rate on that is still ridiculously low. Some people were telling me that they saw some articles or people on like Twitch or whatnot saying that they spent thousands of dollars to try and get this legendary stuff, and they still didn't do it. They still didn't get them. It was like, it's crazy, but hey, to each their own. But yeah, I've been having fun. Tried two different classes, and played the monk and the wizard, sorceress. Yeah. And they were both fun.
To that point, this game is banned in at least 2 countries that I've seen so far.
For all the graphic sex, right?
Yes.
No, it's the gambling laws. In Belgium was one of them, and I can't remember the But yeah, basically they have loot box gambling laws in these countries that prevent that type of drop. So you can do cosmetic DLC and that kind of stuff, but it's when you're basically paying
for a
to
chance to, yeah,
for a chance to. So it is banned in 2 countries. So that's some of that controversy is coming from that sort of stuff for sure.
Yeah, I can see the addiction part, but
do you think it's time for them to sell, like, take a different approach that a lot of these games do? See, just sell a season pass or something, like Fortnite does, and wouldn't that like remove like the kids getting bankrupt or charging $85? It's like, because Fortnite seems to have the best model out there for monetization that doesn't feel like you're cheating anyone. It doesn't impact the gameplay. It's a lot of fun, and it makes it exciting for players.
Absolutely.
Mark, and I'm speaking right to you because you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me? Like, being Obi-Wan Kenobi in Fortnite does not change the game whatsoever, except my enjoyment of any time I sneak up on someone going, hello there, to myself before I shoot them in the face. Like, it doesn't do anything, but it makes me happy. So I'm going to spend the $10 on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, that's just going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. They do have apparently, like, I don't know if it's season passes or whatever, but there's like an option to buy more. Like, you could buy pretty much anything basically in this game. So that's the problem. So like there's a track for your progression, and then in there's like the free track, and then there's the paid track. And so where you can get more gear and stuff like that. And so I don't know. I mean, it is crappy. Don't get me wrong, but like, I've been having fun just the gameplay for a mobile game, because I don't generally play mobile games, and like, I was surprised about this, and like, it works. The net code works pretty well. I played it on my T-Mobile network, and it was fine.
Nice. And do you play it when your phone? You just use touch controls? Or do you like use a Razer Kishi or something like that?
No, I just the touch controls, and they're great.
Okay, nice. I guess it's point and click, right? I mean, that's what it is on PC anyways. You're just like moving your mouse and click, 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 click. Change your power.
Well, even
click.
more so, actually, because because it's just like a touch pad. Like, you have like a directional pad like on the touchscreen, and then like they have the buttons for your actions on the right hand side. So, and like I said, it'll follow your thumb where you place it on the left hand side, so that you can basically place it anywhere, and then kind of do your thing. So
I always worry about my thumb covering up the action, so I always say because my thumb shirt, I'm like, oh crap, I'm covering up my guy. Oh well.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Mark, you've been digging deep.
I have, yeah. So I've been going back, aside from the new season of Fortnite, of course, I've been playing that. And if anyone wants to play, hit me up. Let's do this. But I also, I'll do the reveal here. I got a new Pokemon tattoo.
I saw that. Yeah.
My boy Nidoran, with a kind of outline of Nidoking, my favorite. So I just got that the end of the week. And it's so I got me in a Pokemon mood, and Nidoran's been on my team since Pokemon Blue that I played on this Game Boy Color, and there's my original Pokemon Blue from way back in the day, and so I fired this up again, and I don't know what happened to my original save file, or somewhere it got deleted, but I started a new one fresh, and one of the first like 5 Pokemon I caught was a Nidoran, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like the night before the tattoo appointment. I was like, yeah, this is meant to be.
It's fate.
And so my Nidorans lately have been named Elvis because they turn into Nidoking. Gotta name it after the king. But when I originally had this game, I named the Nidoran after my pet rabbit Chip. So that's what I named this. When I caught it in that game, I named it Chip after my rabbit that we had when we were kids. And so when I went into the tattoo appointment, I actually got her to take a little chip out of Nidoran's ear. My rabbit had, yeah, that's why we named him Chip. He had a little chip in his ear. So this Nidoran on my arm has a little chip just out of his ear, just right up here, and his name is Chip now. So there we go. So I've been playing, Pokemon Blue, and that, going back to play, like I said, on my original Game Boy Color, also inspired me to pick up Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, which I had only played like maybe 4 or 5 hours of. So jumping back into that one finally has Pokemon Home integration. So my team right now has starters from like 3 different
Nice.
generations and like just like the Pokemon that I want. So my team is kicking ass in that game, and I am like loving it. I'm obsessed with Pokemon Brilliant Diamond right now. So yeah, Pokemon is just taking over my brain this week.
Mark, it's unstoppable. I mean, we got the new game, Violet. People are like, going crazy for these trainers. I mean, it's insane. The horny internet is on fire.
What?
Yeah, these trainers and the new Pokemon game. People are like, they're sexy.
It's not even the trainers. No, it's the professors. Like,
Oh,
it doesn't matter. Like,
okay.
Different professors for each of the versions. One's a guy, one's a girl, and they are both just like ready to go.
Don't look at fan art.
These two are just like, okay, all right, what are you guys doing, Pokemon team? Like, slow down. So there you go. That's all I'm going to be horny on main for tonight. For
we haven't, Mark. We haven't finished the show yet. You never know. There's more time. we never know what Chris will talk about next. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, very, very good. Pokemon's. It's kind of exciting. My son is excited for those games. He's it's kind of like a mix of Arceus plus traditional Pokemon. So very, very cool. Big game in November. Myself played a couple of games that interest me. First one was Chorus. This is a game that was shown, I believe, at last year's Xbox event. Looks really cool. It's a space combat, more arcadey shooter that's more like an RPG where you go on missions, you upgrade your ship. It's a beautiful game. And you are essentially a pilot. You don't realize you're part of like a cult that is just killing everybody, and you're like the head assassin of the cult, that you're going and taking everyone out. You finally realize that, I shouldn't be part of a cult. So you kind of go against the cult, who are essentially, it's like the Empire, Mark. It's like someone who decides they realize, the Empire is not such a good place. And then they go off. So it's very similar to that, but it's really cool because you got all these little missions, like, hey, you got to take out some pirates to save a ship. You have to do an escort mission. You found out that there was some potential like treasure that was abandoned. You have to find a map for it. And along the way, you're getting upgrades to your shields, your lasers, bombs, all these things. It's really cool. And what I like about it, it's not one of those arcade space combat sims where you feel like, woo, the guy went past me. Oh crap, I got to turn around, catch up with them. No, it's got really cool, like almost like arcadey controls where you can stop on a dime, turn around quickly, move forward. It takes away a lot of that. I'm not that talented, but I just want to have fun and do goofy stuff. Almost like more like a Star Fox type of game. But cool. Beautiful, really cool story, really amazing looking, but it's all in space. You do have cutscenes and things like that, but you never leave your ship. You're just, you'll go to things. But I highly recommend it. It's on Game Pass. It's on PlayStation. It's everything, but it's on Game Pass, so play it. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it.
Is that so? I'm assuming it plays better to you than. Have you played Rogue Squadron?
I have not played Rogue Squadron, but I was worried about that one because I thought it would be more like a little bit more simmy than arcadey, and it might feel like, oh crap, he went past me, so I gotta speed up, and now I'm going past him, and gotta turn around, and yeah,
definitely have to do that.
Okay, yeah, then definitely not for me. This one's definitely more Todd's. This is baby's first space arcadey game, which is good for Todd's. Might be annoying for others, but I think just look the way it looks, and it's just fun. Very cool. Sifu, a game that came out for PlayStation. Really hyped for this game. It's essentially a combat heavy, utilizing almost realistic. I'm not sure if it's all realistic martial arts moves, but it seems realistic. It's very cool. It's very much like you're on a revenge story. It's very cool. It has melee combat, of course, and then you can get weapons. But the hook is when you die, you essentially lose a certain amount of years off your life. You come back experienced, but you're older. So it's that eventually you become really old. Like you're 50 years old, you're like awesome and you know all this knowledge, but you're 50 years old. So you're not as, your muscles ache and you're in pain, but it's really cool. And I really enjoy it, but the combat's really hard. But they did finally introduce a mode called student mode, where it's You see more of the tells from the enemies when they're going to strike, which makes it really cool. And it also reduces the penalty on life's lost to only like 1 year when you die. So it's less punishing and it makes it more approachable. There's a challenge if you want it to play at higher difficulties. And I'm glad the developers realize that, you're not going to ruin the game for anybody, but you're going to bring more people in the door that find the challenge level. So I really enjoy it, but it is very much like a roguelike. So if you don't like the roguelike, like you can get power-ups and stuff, but they're not automatically retained. So that to me is something I do not like. And I feel like that just kind of took away the fun. So it was more, I enjoyed the experience, but I'm not going to go out and like master this game and things. But it was a GameFly rental. So I said, thank you, GameFly. Please send me the next game. But it looks beautiful too. It's really cool. I highly recommend it for people that enjoy a cool challenge and the martial arts aesthetic. It's like a cooler brawler with more technical expertise.
The takedowns are so good. They feel so good too.
It's neat. It's very cool. Just still stylistic too. I just love it. It's very neat. And lastly, I finished the game. I played Kirby, beat Kirby, but I punked out, didn't do the extended, like the real ending where you beat the game. And apparently there's a second storyline where you actually have to go continue it. So I'm like, you know what? I've had enough Kirby. I'm good to go. But this game was highly entertaining. It's packed with so much content. You can like all of your Kirby power-ups that you get, you can level them up to like level 3 levels. You've got like a Coliseum mode where you can go and take on bosses. You can straight line the story mode with the mainline missions, but there are always these little challenge modes, and some are surprisingly easy, but some are like, you know what? Have you been kicked in the balls in a while? Here you go, surprise for you. I'm like, how? I'm like, no, this isn't even on like difficulty mode. So, and this game does allow for like you to do like flawless things, like get all of the Waddle Dees and all that thing. So that's where the challenge is layered on. So, and it's just fun. It's adorable. I mean, all the different things you can absorb, the mouthful mode, it's kind of goofy. It doesn't add a lot, but it is fun being like shooting pop cans or sucking up water or becoming like a traffic cone. I mean, it's fun.
The most frustrating thing is that in that game is when you fail one of those challenges by like 20 milliseconds and you're just like, yes. Yeah, I'm going to just go beat my head off a brick wall for 5 minutes or so.
Especially when you're like, controlling like that stupid like traffic cone and you're like trying to do that. I'm like, God damn it. It's horrible. But I highly recommend it. It's an adorable game. And once again, Kirby starts fighting a tree boss, and then he goes on and fights on like the devil god king of the universe. It's like, what is this franchise? Nobody knows. Very cool. Glad Kirby has finally been redeemed, and Bobby Pauls would be, spitting on me from heaven right now if he heard that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but the Switch is still alive. Kirby didn't kill it, Mark. So we move from there to the big events, because I can't say event because there were many events, and we aren't even talking about all the events because there was a billion. I mean, the ones we aren't be covering is the PC Gaming Showcase. We won't be covering the Friendful Games or Friendly Games Showcase. I forget what it's called. Let's see. We just found out about the Capcom Showcase, which just happened, which was really just more information about things we knew was coming. So, but the 4 we're going to talk about is the PlayStation State of Play, which happened earlier in the week. Then we had the Game Fest, which was really the kickoff of the Summer Games Fest by Jeff Keighley and his Key 3s. Then we had the Devolver Digital Showcase, and then we have the Xbox Showcase. So we're gonna kind of walk you through what happened and kind of our key takeaways, and kind of we'll grade each one and see where they delivered. So I'm gonna take the first one. Chris, I'll let you take Game Fest if you want that. Mark, I'll go back to Devolver Digital. And Mark, I'll let you take Xbox Showcase unless somebody else wants Devolver.
I was going to say, dude, if you give me Devolver Digital, that's the one I didn't watch.
Okay.
This is going to fall apart.
All right. All right. Well, the PlayStation State of Play, this is not their PlayStation Showcase, which is their big event where they focus on first party and things like that. So this was really, and they lined it up. They said this is going to be a bunch of third party games, and then also focus on VR. That's exactly what they delivered with this. My key takeaways from this was they delivered on a lot of cool VR titles that are coming unknown, because they still haven't told us when VR is coming. So we know some games are going to come on PS4 and PSVR, but not that. I mean, we've got the Horizon Zero Dawn game for VR. We've got a lot of RE games coming. We've got a Saints and Sinners game from Walking Dead. So some really cool looking titles, and definitely neat, especially the RE games. When they put the Resident Evil games in VR, it's like game over, man. I mean, I don't want to crap my pants, so I'm not going to do that.
My brother-in-law was here last weekend and said that is, in his eyes, the definitive way to play Resident Evil
7.
7 is VR.
I just played that game on stream and it was terrifying without the VR.
Oh, without the VR. Okay, yeah. It's such a cool game, and I amazed myself because I don't like really scary games, but I love that game. But yeah, it was like, whew, what's coming next, Todd? Yeah, very creepy. I mean, my standouts, and I don't know what your standouts. So if you guys want to tell us if you had standouts for the event, but it was a more smaller 30 minutes of games, and that was it. Was there anything
the only thing was I noticed was like Street Fighter 6, but I think they kind of talked about it at Games Fest as well. Well, they
showed more gameplay. Yeah, they introduced Guile, and then we did find out that the game at PlayStation Street Fighter 6 is going to be multi-console, which I think is great for everybody, because SF5 was on PlayStation only, and we're getting essentially a story mode and a training mode about like you're training a fighter, which I think is really cool for the first time to see that in a Street Fighter game. It's really cool. And let's see. I mean, Final Fantasy 16 was the big thing where people lost their minds. It's coming in summer 2023, apparently exclusive to PlayStation, and it looks more along the lines of they're going more into the action RPG than the turn-based.
Mm-hmm. I think most of them were doing that. Like, what was it when I played?
15 went that way. FE7 remake also went that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. For me, this was a decent showcase. A lot of the VR stuff looks really cool, but I just got my Quest. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not looking to jump into PlayStation VR. I've kind of made my choice that I want untethered VR, even if that takes a graphical hit. But you can see, and I'm excited to see where VR is going and the fidelity that they can offer with the PS5, PSVR 2. So very exciting in that way. And then there were some things that just kind of stood out as weird, Roller Dome. Looks so stiff, and Ollie Ollie World is so freaking good and smooth. I don't know, that was a weird one, but then Tunic is coming to PlayStation. So good stuff for the most part for even a smaller showcase. I thought this was okay.
Yeah, I mean, they had a game called Eternites, which I think is really good. It's a dating action anime game that a lot of people will love. It looked pretty cool, but it's definitely not for me. We have that Season game where a woman is essentially going across the country on a bike, and she's just recording almost humanity's last gasp and recording moments, which is a cool consideration. It's the end of the world, but it's a cool someone documenting that for others. PlayStation or No Man's Sky coming to VR 2. I guess a big part was the fact that Sony's going all in on PC games. So we got essentially all of the Spider-Mans are coming to PC, which is fantastic for so many people who don't want to own a console. I love it. And they're going to be fantastic versions. So I think that's awesome. I will say along with that Stray game about that cat looks really interesting and really cool. And it's going to be free on PS Plus. So that I'm hoping that's what we hear more about in the future of PlayStation with PS Plus and the premium and whatever the tiers. We're getting more day and date games that make the subscription worth your while, because right now it's kind of a hard value proposition compared to other platforms in regards to that. But I did want to say my standout was RE4 Remake. RE4, I bought the GameCube I bought the Wii. No, I bought the GameCube partially because of Resident Evil 4, which is kind of crazy. You thought that was actually a Nintendo exclusive at launch. And I love that game to pieces.
Yeah.
And I love the Resident Evil remakes. And this just looks like they're taking the heart of Resident Evil and going even deeper.
Yeah. Because that, like, people forget, like, GameCube had Resident Evil remake, Resident Evil 0, like the one, like it just had so many remakes, and then 4 like as a timed exclusive for a little while. Like that was, it was like the Resident Evil machine. It was so weird for this Nintendo console to be like, this is the home of Resident Evil.
Yeah, the GameCube was essentially Nintendo's really last, before the Switch, adult console, because they also had Eternal Darkness. They did some crazy things that I thought was really cool, but yeah, that's changed. But yeah, I think this was a solid show. But once again, it was the state of plays, and state of plays are a mixed bag. Sometimes they're just like, why did I waste my time? And this one had some good stuff, but it wasn't a. It's kind of like the Nintendo Mini Directs, or like the Xbox has those one-offs. They're okay, but they're nothing that's really going to change the game. So, but once again, it was a positive start to the summer of games, which Jeff Keighley included this as part of theirs. So I guess he gets ownership of it. So we go from there. We go to okay. Well, we'll rank it. Anybody, a 1 out of 5? What would you rate it?
I mean, there were good showings. I'd probably give it like a 3.
Yeah, I'd say the same kind of thing. Probably about a 3. It was good. It was a fine, like, it was that, like, curly fry in your French fries. Like, it was fine, but it's not like the main meal. It's just like an extra bonus in your side meal or something. Like, it was good.
I'll give it a 4. Because I really, just the Resident Evil 4 just made me so happy. So I'll take it. Yeah, everybody has got that one game that just makes me so happy. So we move then to the Game Fest, which was last Thursday. 2 hours, some may say a little too long, of essentially Jeff Keighley bringing a showcase to the masses that really, he had a lot of partners. But I don't know. What'd you think? So, Chris, this is your baby. So, what's your rundown of it?
I don't know about this baby, but this I want to say there was way too much time spent on Modern Warfare 2.
50 minutes? Is that what it was?
It felt like the entire show for me, to be honest, because it was like, we get it. It's Modern Warfare 2. It's the same game. I get it. There's been upgraded graphics and stuff like that. But like, it was, they had to, I don't know why they had to show off the fact that they were like, hey, we have enough money to rent out a tanker and whatever it was that they did.
So
it was
weird.
It was so ridiculous. So over the top.
Yeah. We painted top of 2 ships.
Yeah.
And put them together to make
It's crazy.
I guess if Keighley was gonna, drop a load, that was gonna be what it was, right? The biggest franchise. He's like, I'm milking this because the rest of the stuff may not be as exciting for everybody else. So I'll give him credit. But yeah, I mean, it looks great. But yeah, why'd you do 10 minutes? 10 minutes is too long.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that it was cool to see. There was a lot of space horror games. Like we had the Callisto Protocol. We had that. The game with Troy Baker and
was it Fort Solis? Was that the one, or was that a different one?
That was it. And then there was that game that was like basically Five Nights at Freddy, but in space. Where you had the little camcorder, and yeah, like so, and Aliens: Dark Descent.
Which is, I mean, I was gonna say that's a strategy RPG, which I find so odd too. Or is it tactical strategy?
I don't know. That's what I was curious about. I didn't know if it was going to be like almost like a Diablo style game, like strategy game like that, or not strategy, but like action RPG like that, or if it was going to be like you said, like an RTS kind of thing. So
it's saying real time strategy in the little write-up.
Oh, wow.
I'm reading. So yeah,
okay.
It's in the.
It was very confusing. That was very confusing.
That's funny you mentioned that, because that was a trend. A lot of the trailers we saw didn't clue into what type of game you're going to be playing, and I don't understand why they do that. I mean, I know they're trying to set a tone, but if the tone is one thing, and then it's like, I mean, although the one that did do that really well, which was Goat Simulator 3, where they actually skipped the second one
Good.
It's so good it has to be 3.
Oh man, just so brilliant.
That was
And they mocked what? Dead Island 2. They mocked that trailer from like 8 E3s ago, and they said we're going for it.
Did that game ever come out? It never came out, did it?
No.
Oh my God.
Such an amazing trailer. Game never came out, and then Goat Simulator skips 2, makes a perfect recreation of this trailer, and calls itself Goat Simulator 3. Like, if you need to question what type of developer and what type of game this is after watching that, like, nah. Just no.
Right.
There's no question. This is just pure ridiculousness shaped as a goat. Like, that's it.
Those games are crazy. My son loved those games. Those are funny. You should show Finn those games, Mark, just because his age. You're like,
Yeah, I really should.
I was actually happy to see the Witchfire game look cool, because I thought for a quick second that it was like a remake of Painkiller. I don't know if you guys ever played that game.
Yeah.
It was a remake of that for a second. I thought that was cool.
Wasn't that game like announced like 6 years ago, and it was like went off the map and it came back finally?
I guess. I don't know. It was still cool to see that. And of course, the fact that Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is coming to Game Pass.
Yes.
June 16th, right? It's 3 days, like a few days. So that's awesome.
On Game Pass.
Yeah.
Plus Casey Jones.
Yeah.
6
Casey
players.
Jones. Yep, 6 players.
Oh,
Battletoads couldn't even do one like online co-op. Like, come on.
We're giving up. We're giving up. Oh my goodness. You're right though. I mean, that was like kind of the big takeaway. And I was like, but that game was announced everywhere else. And wow, talk about with a key takeaway that, it's the game that's coming out in 3 days versus everything else where you're like, those are games you're going to be looking forward to. Yeah, it's crazy. The game that, and it's funny because the game, PlayStation was involved in this. I'm like, Xbox really didn't have a big showing. Nintendo was showing commercials essentially during, which I thought was funny that Nintendo didn't want to show up because they used to have a really good relationship with Jeff Keighley, him and Reggie. So it's kind of weird. Then PlayStation showed up, and with the PlayStation or with the Last of Us remake, which looks beautiful, but it's essentially the same game. They redid the assets and things like that. I guess it's going to take in a lot of the gameplay mechanics from Last of Us 2, though, which makes it, up to modern standards, which is cool. But to me, it was like, okay, that's good for new players. And I think it's awesome. And a lot of people are fans and want to play it again. I probably would never, ever play it again just because of the experience. But the big announcement really was that the fact that Factions, which was the old Last of Us multiplayer mode, essentially they said, we're going all in this and making a standalone Last of Us multiplayer type game with a story that's going to be all brand new. So I'm like, that's kind of a cool announcement, but it wasn't like the one last thing. So I think it kind of didn't achieve what they wanted, which, I get that.
Yeah.
I did want to call it one game, though, that made me happy. I'm probably the only one in the world because I'm old. Flashback 2. I loved Flashback back on my old PC. It was on SNES, I believe. I think it was on a bunch of old retro consoles, but I loved it. It was kind of like take Prince of Persia with like that rotoscoping cool like action, but in a sci-fi realm. I think it was a sequel to Out of This World, or one of those games. But this one's coming out, and it looks amazing, and it looks like actually a modern game. So this makes Todd very, very happy. So thank you.
And I know they didn't really show much gameplay, though they kind of like Midnight Suns look kind of interesting too. Even though
that is the best looking game that I will never play. I love everything I see about that game except the game. It's sad. But just the card mechanics and the rent, like I'm just like, no, just give me a game where I can be like that exact thing, that exact scenario where I can just press a button to kick the shit out of someone instead of picking a card.
That's all. You don't like doing this, Mark? Waiting, Spidey goes like this, and then Spidey pulls up a card out of his pocket. I can do this.
Spider-Man is actually is available on all consoles, though.
Yeah,
that's true.
Voiced by Yuri again, right?
Yeah, he's just not the same Spider-Man. Right. Which they have to verify that. It's so weird. Oh yeah. I love to Mark's point. I love the aesthetic, but I just do not love that style of game.
No. Yeah,
that's fair. give it a shot, especially if it's on Game Pass. I'll give it a shot. So.
Oh, if it's on Game Pass, I will try it to see. Because like you said before, I think for the games you were playing, like the one little thing sometimes will get you into a genre that you don't like. I don't like park simulator games, but you throw dinosaurs in it and I'll spend 40 hours playing Jurassic Park Simulator because I'm an idiot. But like this might be the card game that I'm like, oh yeah, Spider-Man's here. Like, give me a card game. Right. But so far, like 0 card games. And I've tried, but none of them have ever grabbed my attention. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's not like they couldn't have just done like the XCOM style. They do XCOM plus cards. It was like, ugh.
Yeah,
guys, stop throwing in genres there. Never going to be. It's a tower defense too. Oh yeah. Oh well. Yeah. So Chris, what would you rate it? 1 or 5?
The problem is Modern Warfare 2 thing just like really knocked it down for me. Probably say a 3. Probably say a 3 again.
That's fair. See, and okay, so I'm gonna stipulate that I didn't watch any of these live. I watched them on replay. So if there was something that I wasn't interested in, I fast forwarded it. So with that being said, the Modern Warfare stuff, like I haven't played a COD game in a little bit. So like this one, I was like, maybe I'll mess with this a little bit. So I did watch most of that. Gotham Knights, I think just needs to stop showing stuff. I'm already sold. Just give me that game already. Like I said, the Goat Simulator 3 had me actually laughing out loud. And then the Ninja Turtle stuff, I was just like, yep, sold, done, do it. Let's do this. So I'm going to go 4 on this one. Slightly better than, just because I gave the PlayStation 1 a 3 and I thought that was like fine. Like I think this one was a little step above that.
I'm going like a 2.75.
Fudge.
It wasn't a good show. The games were fine. The games were fine. It wasn't a good show though. I mean, Jeff Keighley was just having like, and he was doing advertisements live on the phone. Mark, it wasn't a good show.
The Rock, the whole Rock thing. Oh,
here's my trailer you've already seen, and here's my energy drink.
And he was pushing like multiple products at the same time. How does this guy is unbelievable?
What did he say? Enjoy your games or something like that. Enjoy your gaming. Yeah,
super awkward.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not putting a shade on the games. I'm just saying it was way too long, and the presentation sucked. They didn't have a good cadence, and they didn't have a good mix of like, here's this genre, and we're not going to show another genre that's just like it. They just didn't have an understanding of better flow. So, and I like Jeff Keighley, and I like what they do with the Game Awards and things like that. This one. No, it was just. I think they took a step back. But I would say this: E3 never did a showcase just by E3, so nobody's ever done this before. True. So because it was always Xbox and Sony, and everybody else. So when people say, "Oh, E3 did it better," I'm like, no, the console owners did it better. E3 just had them show up at the same place. So yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I get that, and I think I'd probably feel the same if I watched it live because it was very long, very drawn out. There was like, Chris, what did you say? Like Space Horror Simulator 16, like that was it, right? So and I skipped past most of those. So yeah, I might be looking at this with like rose-covered fast forward glasses. Because I watched this in like a half hour.
Yeah, Mark, if you had to wait till like, okay, I'm going to walk away and come back in 5 minutes. Yeah, that's a tough solve there.
Right.
Yeah. Next one was Devolver Digital. It's always a sweetheart conference for me because they just go all in on like a whole storyline. It's over the top, adult. There's decapitations, vulgar language, and then along the way they show a couple of games. So I mean, and this year they brought in Mecha Suda 51. I mean, just the most bizarre thing in the world. So last year was all about selling their like digital subscription. And this year was just like marketing. But the games they always show are always interesting. And there was only a couple of games. So, I mean, really quick, we can go through them. Cult of the Lamb. This is a weird, like, a Cult of a Lamb. And it's like cartoonish, but it's apparently they're trying to get it's collect resources, gain loyal followers, and rid the world of false prophets to become the one true cult and lamb god.
What's that game? It's like Stardew Valley with a little bit of action. elements to it.
Lots of exploding things, but yeah, it's cute.
There's a demo out now too, so always try it out.
Yeah, Angerfoot. This one was weird because essentially you can only melee attack with kicking, and you shoot people.
Yes, and it is, again, this game has a demo too. Definitely try it. It is such a trip. It is so trip. It reminded me of like a first-person Hotline Miami.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Exactly like it. Yeah.
So like, because like one hit, you're dead, and you start over the entire mission. Mm-hmm. So, but it is so fun. It's by the guys who did Gorn, the VR game. So
Gorn, that's such a weird game. Where you pick up people. Mark, have you played Gorn on Quest?
I believe so, but I haven't.
Okay,
so
it's
I'm
the weird
familiar with the game.
Weird physics and like it's like this. Yeah. It's like a melee physics game. It's just goofy. You should play it if you haven't yet. Yeah, Card Shark. Apparently, it's all about game of deceit. Yes. Don't know much about it.
Again, another game that has a demo out right now. Definitely check it out. I highly recommend it because basically, think of this as like it's not a card game at all. It's all like the closest thing I can think of it is like WarioWare, because you're playing the card game, but you're not playing the game. You're playing how to like trick the person that you're playing against.
Game of deceit.
Exactly, it's a game of deceit.
It looks like a masterpiece theater too. It's like very
and the art style is really the art style is really cool, and it's funny too. So it's again, there's a demo. Check it out.
PC and Switch, right?
Yeah. So, which probably works for if it's like touchscreen, maybe.
Yeah.
But the game that I think this stole a lot of attention away from everything, and it was called The Plucky Squire. And this game, the best way to describe it is like a Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. You're basically opening a book, and it's a story about this plucky squire. The night he's going through doing little things, and it's got different game genres, and it's got like Punch Out. And it's crazy. It looks just like Punch Out, Mark. It's just crazy. And then you've got like 2D shooting and things like that. But the cool part is you're on the table on this book. You come out of the book and it's fully 3D.
It's gorgeous.
And then you go on to different surfaces and you go on to them. And it is amazing. Yeah. It looks so cool. It looks like something out of, like they said, looks at something out of a Pixar film. And they're absolutely right. Just because it takes the concept and is just amazing. You go off the page and it looks like a Zelda game, and then it turns into like I said, a 3D game. You go into surfaces and you do like a shmup. You interact with it. It's amazing, Mark. You gotta, if you haven't watched.
I'm watching the trailer right now. Like if you see me staring off, if you're watching the.
Did they say this is in-game footage?
Yes.
Oh my god,
man! Yeah, it's coming to everything. Amazing. In 2023, and it stole the show because it's like, I'm like, why didn't PlayStation show this? Or like, well, Devolver Digital wanted to be, and they are very picky about the games they publish, and I see why. Yeah. And then the last one is a skating game called Skate Story. It's essentially Rez with a skateboard. Yeah. It's psychedelic. It's weird. It's chill out. You might be imbibing of something when you play this game, but there you go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So there you go. Devolver Digital, considering, I don't know who watched this, Mark, considering the games you saw here and what you saw. Chris, did you watch any of it?
I watched. I was surprised it was only 30 minutes.
Perfect.
It was only a 30-minute. But I felt like they really leaned. I don't know if it was because they only selected a few games. Like, what was it? Like a total of maybe 5 or 6 games. Yeah. So it was very selective, but and they kind of went a little long on their little skits in between. But I mean, the games that they showed, they were really cool games, and like the fact that like most of them, or a good amount of them had demos like right after. I was like, cool, like I can actually try this game.
Yeah.
I'll say this is a 4 for me.
I didn't watch this one at all. Looking at the trailers, I'm going to agree that this is probably like a 4 or a 5. I'm going to listen to what Chris is saying, and if they went a little long on some of the skits, which Devolver is bad for doing, I enjoy some of it. Some it's like, please just end this right now. And, I'm going to lean to, I will agree with a 4 once I watch it, but even just based on the trailers, it looks like a great selection of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go a 4.5 because I believe brevity and hitting their points, selecting the games, and finding the right mix of things. But I'm taking off points for your point, Chris. The leaning into that like story mode of their conferences gets to be a little much, and maybe they could hold it back. But I get it. The people that are really into it really get into it. There's probably like fan fiction. There's probably graphic novels based on the world of Devolver Digital Marketing that we don't know about. Yeah.
You need to watch a couple of seasons of what's it called? I Think You Should Leave. If you need to watch someone that knows how to exactly when to end a sketch, it's that one.
Wait, is that the one where that's on 2 seasons? And I think I've watched one of those. I know it's a show that I need to watch more of. Is it 2 seasons?
The former SNL guy, right?
It's Tim Robinson.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think there's 2 seasons on Netflix. Netflix, yeah. Okay, yeah. We just blew through the 2 seasons. It's fantastic.
Awesome. I'll have to definitely go back and watch it. I love weird comedies. So, all right. Well, that's Devolver Digital, folks. Just watch it just for your own. If you've never watched it before, just watch it and let us know. And lastly, we've got the Xbox Showcase, Mark. This was on Sunday. I made sure I was ready for it. Got plunked down for 90 minutes of gaming goodness. So, Mark, take it away.
Yeah, so a few highlights I'm just going to run through really quickly. We saw a decent amount of Redfall, some gameplay finally for that one. Hollow Knight Silksong, High on Life, which I think was one of the highlights for me personally. That's from the creators of Rick and Morty and looks absolutely bananas. We got some Riot Games coming to Game Pass announcements, a whole bunch of stuff there for Riot Game fans. Plague's Tale Requiem shown off a little bit there. So we also saw Forza Motorsport. They got into like the nitty gritty about that game, how that looks, how it works, the ray tracing on a ladybug's butt. Like it's gonna
damage, right?
Really down and went simulator mode. But then they talked about its flight simulator, the Halo spacecraft and Halo themed vehicles coming to Flight Simulator, which was like announced, like dropped that day, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch 2 coming in early access, begins in October. Ara.
Yeah, the real time.
So in History Untold, that's PC Game Pass. Elder Scrolls Online, High Island, Fallout 76, The Pit, Forza Horizon 5. I loved this one. Hot Wheels DLC, planned for July. Arc 2, I guess Vin Diesel's back to gaming.
And it's delayed, yet they showed a trailer.
Why not? It was, you know what? Vin Diesel and Xbox used to be absolute gold. Got some Chronicles of Riddick. As the Xbox, that was an Xbox exclusive, right?
It was, yeah, on the OG.
Kind of cool to see him back. Maybe this game will be all right. A little bit more Scorn if you like everything looking disgusting, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, which I thought looked kind of cool. Anything with like a weird little fox friend is cool by me. Minecraft Legends. We saw a brand new game coming to Game Pass.
An RTS game where you're gather your masses to take on the other masses, and you can build and perfect fit.
We got a mech exploration and farming game, which is that's a sentence. Lightyear Frontier looks kind of cool though. Gunfire Reborn, shoot 'em up roguelike. Releasing
it's a Mark. It's a cute 'em up. It's a cute 'em up.
Oh my God! Okay.
Jesus. The last case of Benedict Fox.
Whoa!
Looks very neat.
I am all in on this game. When I saw it, like you got like a crazy demon walking you through this. It's got cool. It's like a Metroidvania with demons. You know, I am all in on this.
I think that's going to be like the sleeper hit of this E3 presentation, or possibly E3. As Dusk Falls, like interactive rotoscoped drama thing. I don't know. I'm sure someone will love that.
Did you know the thing that threw me off? I'm like, I'm all in, and then I saw how they manage like the gameplay. It's like,
yeah,
I mean,
I didn't like the motion.
I was saying it's like the Max Payne cutscenes. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
That's how it felt to me.
It drew me out of it. I'm like, okay, nope, not doing that. Yeah.
Naraka Blade Point. I think I pronounced that right. Crossplay confirmed. Campaign mode. Xbox coming to Xbox June 23rd. So another one we don't have to wait very long for. Pentiment. That was a super weird art style, but looks kind of
it looks like it's
century Bavaria narrative crime story. Like
it looks like a tapestry come to life. Like you take a tapestry and you're like, do wacky adventures. Okay, we'll do wacky adventures.
I love that Obsidian is doing all this wacky stuff.
How do they have the time? They're doing like 18 games, and we get other studios that can't even do one. I'm like,
so weird. Yeah,
they're beasts.
Yeah. Grounded finally getting a full story mode.
I'm ready to go in
September.
finally.
It's going to be great. Ereban, Shadow Legacy. Ereban, set to release in 2023. Confirmed day one for Game Pass. Way too stealthy for my attention span, I think, but looks very cool and very stylish. Diablo 4 is getting a new class.
Did you guys
cross-play, cross-progression, PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PS5, PS4, and Switch? It's awesome.
When I saw this trailer, I thought it was Diablo, but I thought they were doing like a side project where it was like almost like an action game. I'm like, oh, they're going to do one with the Necromancer. And then it's like, nope, that's just the trailer. I'm like, wow, that was so cool.
Yeah. I really thought it was going to be a spin-off kind of game or something like that. We got a great trailer for Sea of Thieves Season 7. Ravenlock.
Mark, I've got to stop you on this one because I didn't understand this at all. I'm like, I thought you were a captain of your own ship. Are you just renting a ship in the game? And I don't know I get.
So you have your ship, but every time you jump in, like you kind of have to talk and say like, okay, I'm going to be the captain, or you don't have your specific ship. Like if you jump in with like the two of us jump in, it's just going to be a ship there.
Okay.
But in this case, it's like going to be my ship decorated the way I want to, with
it's
my
a permanent
setup
ship
and
then.
my layup. It's the permanent ship. If you decide that I'm going to be the captain and the three of us are playing, then we're going on my ship. I'm the captain. It's going to be my captain's quarters, blah, blah, blah. If we decide Chris is going to be the captain, then it's going to be his ship and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit changed there. You can also name the ship, and I want to hear people's most wacky, hilarious.
But keep it clean.
Nah.
Well, isn't that what they said? It had to keep it clean. They even called it out in their low shanty. The song was great. The song was great, by the way.
Yeah. I want to hear people's best corny ship names. Share them in the Discord or tweet them at me or whatever. Just get me your best corny ship names. Boys in the hood, or buoys on the side. Whatever you want to. The Unsinkable 2 is one of my favorites.
The old brown trout.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to hear people. Anyway, continue with this. Ravenlock.
Yes.
Cocoon. What else did we get? And Wolong, Fallen Dynasty. That was a cool one to see. Team Ninja.
Is that because it's a Tecmo Koei? They do like the Warriors games, but they also made Neo, which is like a Souls game. So is it like a Warriors game, or is it like a Souls game?
I think it's more Soulsy, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
We got the announcement that Persona games are coming to Xbox. 3 portable, 4 golden, and 5 royal. They're coming to Game Pass, I believe, but only 5 has a release date, which is you'd think they'd go 3, 4, 5, but no. We also got Hideo Kojima partnering with Xbox. He's just doing what he wants, it seems, these days. He did come out with a statement today saying his partnership with PlayStation is still strong, so he's just tasting the water.
He's on Tinder. He's on gaming Tinder.
That's it. He's swiping right on everyone. And then
it's cloud though too. That's the weird part. It's going to be a cloud-based game, which I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
It means you're going to be a cloud.
Crackdown 3.
I thought we were going to always know where Jeff Keighley is at all times, or Norman Reedus. We like, what are they up to? Let's go check on the cloud.
Jeff Keighley and Norman Reedus play 2 Cumulus clouds.
Oh my god!
The cloud game, very nice.
Floating. Yeah, it's an actual cloud simulator game. Not like there is a cloud simulator. Rain on My Parade. Yeah. Shoot, come on, Kojima, come up with something original. Then we saw a whole bunch of Starfield. What, another like 10, 15 minutes of that one, I think. We got the story trailer and some more gameplay and stuff throughout that. So 100 solar systems, 1,000 planets.
How?
Looks intense.
Yep. How?
Crazy. So very quickly, my takeaways from this one, Redfall looks cool. Probably mess with that a little bit and kind of, eventually move on. But I think that'll be a fun weekend playing with some friends. Like I said, High on Life, probably one of the highlights for me, if not the highlight so far. It's just something about the ridiculous of your guns talking to you and being Morty.
The knife that wants to keep stabbing people. That was awesome.
It's so great. Horizon Hot Wheels, thumbs up. Last Case of Benedict's Fox, like I said, I think sleeper hit. Sea of Thieves, the more Sea of Thieves is always good. And Starfield looks cool. It does look kind of No Man's Sky-ish. I saw people making comparisons, but you know what? No Man's Sky is great. So if they throw some Skyrim-esque stuff into No Man's Sky, like, cool, let's do it. What do you guys think? Any standouts for you?
I'll let Todd go first.
Okay. Ravenlock. I just thought that looked awesome. I loved that game called Echo Generations. It was on Game Pass. That was where it's like almost voxels, like it's pixely but very detailed, and it was based on the 80s, very nostalgic turn-based RPG, very much like the South Park game. Loved it. Thought it was really fun, and it's the same team but doing an action RPG, and it's got tones of like Alice in Wonderland. I'm all in on this game. So really, really excited about that game. It just was a surprise. I had no clue they were making this game. So it's amazing. I think this is a 2023 game. Mark, we already talked about the Lost Case of Benedict Fox. I just think it's one of those games. Xbox always has one like indie game that always stand out. Last year was it the Pixely game that they actually replaced. And and Jeff Keighley actually mentioned the fact that they weren't able to show something because they're impacted by the war. So I feel bad for them, but they always have one game that just always sounded like Tunic or something like that. And this is one of those games. So and it's just phenomenal. I love it. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. This looks so awesome. Mark, you called out like the little fox thing. It looks like a fox chicken because it has chicken feet, and it has cool action RPG elements, cool combat. I'm like, I want to know more because it looks phenomenal. I think it's by the team who made Greedfall. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember.
Okay.
And then Erebon, you mentioned it. This is the team. It's almost like that old ninja game on PlayStation 1. I can't remember what it was called.
Tenchu?
Yes, Tenchu. And I'm like, this looks awesome, but with like almost like a neon aesthetic. Very cool. And you played in the shadows. That's what I thought was kind of cool. Like you use shadows, like you could actually go into the shadows, traverse across the walls. I'm like, very, very cool. I did want to call out. So those are like kind of my big ones. I mean, Redfall looks really cool, and I think it's a fact that it felt like a Back for Blood, but you can play it as a single player, which I think is great with vampires. Very cool. The one thing that's confusing with Xbox, and I think they need to like combine messages, the DLC is not always free. Like Hot Wheels is not part of Game Pass. You have to pay. I'm like, it's so weird. It's just like Sea of Thieves, all the content, like the actual gameplay content is free. Like some extra, there's some, like you get a pass you can buy for all the extras. So I'm like, and I think there was another thing that was not free either as like extra content. So it's just like, I wish they kind of were a little bit more clear because they showed like Game Pass, but it was only for Forza Horizon 5, not the content, because I was going to like, I might try out Hot Wheels, but I'm not going to pay for it because I didn't really like Forza, but oh well, that's my dig there. It's kind of an odd situation, but it's okay. The thing that I really want to call it is, I really thought Starfield looked awesome, but I really wish Bethesda put some color and some more style in their games, because it looks so generic. When we talked about like No Man's Sky looks so bright and colorful and interesting, and I'm like, when I look at what they're doing, it's gonna be like No Man's Sky with the story, which is cool, but it just didn't pop. Like I was like, it didn't feel like, wow, this is next gen, or this is something. It felt like Fallout in space, kind of using a better engine. So, but it's going to be awesome. I mean, I'm like, oh, I think they're cool. And I thought some of the mechanics are different. They're not using the, what's the combat mechanic where they slow time? With Fallout 3. I forget what they called it. Yeah. Where you basically pause time, you could then shoot specific areas. They're not doing it. So it's going to be more of a shooty shoot game. It does have that space combat, which looked okay. But the big part is you can build your ship, which could be a lot of fun. So I'm optimistic, and it's probably 6 months. No, actually, it's probably 8 months away or 9 months away. But the cool part about this event, all the games they said were coming in 2020, in 12 months.
In the next 12 months.
Exactly. Yeah. So if they can get all these games out in the next 12 months, we don't even know what's coming out fall of the next year. So they could have a kick-ass year. So it was a solid event, and they dropped a ton of games, but there were no megatons.
Yeah, I'll back up on that one. It's a good 12 months, but yeah, yes. You're right. There's no like mega. I mean, the megaton was supposed to be Starfield, but like you said, it's like, and maybe there's 999 planets that are really like bright and colorful, but they showed off the one that's like, hey, here's space gray.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, to your point, Mark, like the megatons, there were so many rumors like, oh, we might get a Banjo game, or we might get the GoldenEye drop.
GoldenEye drop.
Exactly. So like, I think in our back of our minds, like we're waiting for that thing like, oh, that's the megaton. And now I'm hearing rumors, maybe Nintendo gets that drop. And that would just be like, really? Wow. Nintendo gets to steal that out from everybody. But yeah, so yeah, I thought a solid event.
Chris, what'd you think?
I mean, I'm just surprised at how many games they were able to churn out in the 90 minutes. Like it was just game after game after game after game. It was like nonstop. And they stopped at Starfield. Like that's where it kind of slowed down a bit. Redfall as well.
Diablo.
Yes, right. Diablo as well. But yeah, I was just really impressed. Like I'm not much of a racing simulator as well, but they basically like they saw the Horizon team do their like, here's how detailed our game is, and it's like, hold my beer, like this is how detailed our game is, and it was ridiculous. And I think they also like did put a dig at Gran Turismo, where they're like, well, we're ray tracing everything, not just when you're stopped around. So it was like, all right, that's cool. I like that little dig. That's cool. Like I agree with you guys. The games that you agreed, like The Last Case of Benedict Fox looks amazing. Ravenlock and Erebon, like those games look so cool. And of course, High on Life. But it was funny because I was watching this with Nave from Gaming Together Pod, and he's like, High on Life and Scorn are basically like the polar opposite, like the same game but on different spectrums of like weirdness. Yeah, and it was so funny, but like unbelievable stuff. And
Scorn is like the game if David Lynch made it, that would be the game he makes. So gross.
And I mean, it was really shocking to me that they got that partnership with Riot, because that's going to be huge for Microsoft, because like there's so many players on that entire landscape of Riot games, and for them to be like, hey, come join Game Pass and you get everything in all these Riot games. It's like sold.
That's like them. Subscribers. Yeah, that's like them going. Microsoft says, "Oh, by the way, Fortnite, all your season passes are on us." Right. It's exactly that. So, and that's a good point about Riot. I mean, they're a big PC player, and I mean they're bringing a lot of value to, and that's what they want to do. They wanted to court more PC players into Game Pass. That's exactly how you do, because most of their games aren't on consoles. They don't play big in console. So to me, that's them showing we are courting PC players. So that's a great point.
Yeah. And there were a few things that they showed that, like, it was not just like there are a few PC exclusives. that it wasn't just that. It was like, this is coming to PC Game Pass, and they made a very good
Mhm.
point of like, sometimes Game Pass is not console first.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, they fixed most of my concerns about it, because for a while time the console had the big, but I think they're really complementing each other great, and everything's going to cloud. And I don't know if you guys had heard this, but Xbox's next endeavor is to get all of your game library on the cloud, not just the games in Game Pass. So as long as you are a Game Pass subscriber, Ultimate subscriber, a game that might not be on Game Pass will be playable on the cloud. Which is to me a huge deal, because it says it just means that every game you own, whether it's on Game Pass or not, will be playable on the cloud, and that is a phenomenal win.
So like no remote play or anything like that needed. It's
in your library. It's through the cloud.
You're good. Wow. Holy crap, that's amazing.
I will be surprised. I don't know how far back they'll go, or if they'll be retro or be future active, because I'm not sure if they're going to go like, oh, that 360 game you bought, it's playable on the cloud. They might. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they work that library kind of thing, because like I've had good luck with remote play and stuff like that. So, like it's fine. Cool, that's neat. They did just do something, actually, speaking of Fortnite and Xbox. I wonder if that's testing the waters, since Fortnite is on cloud streaming now. And I think it's just free for anyone to test. Like, as long as
you just need an Xbox account.
Just try
or Outlook.
But they're giving away a free pickaxe if you just log in through that. So I logged in, I played a match on my phone through cloud gaming, and then logged in. The next time I was playing, my nephew, who I usually play with a couple of times a week, was like, "Where'd you get that pickaxe?" And I was just like, Xbox
advertising. You did it, March.
He was just like, okay, yeah, I will.
Here's the QR code. Download it now. Yeah.
I wonder if that's them testing like some sort of Game Pass partnership. That'd be neat.
Yeah, I mean, we did, and we also, I mean, we didn't talk about it, but I mean, that was one of the previous announcements. If you own a Samsung TV, like 2022 and beyond, it will include the Game Pass app. So you can just play your games directly through that. I assume it has Bluetooth involved with the TV, so you can just hook up a Bluetooth controller, and that's where we're going. That's one thing we thought we might also hear is the Xbox dongle, but we're not there yet.
Yeah,
I just got rid of my. I'm all LG at my house now, so I'm so annoyed. That,
you're screwed, Chris. You're screwed.
I was like, oh man. Oh, well.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to buy a new TV because of my move. So decisions. Oh well. Yeah. Anything else, Chris?
No. I mean, like I said, I thought it was a very, very solid announcement. Like, and they did what they had to do, considering all the issues that they were having with announcements with first party games. I know that was like the biggest complaint with a lot of people I saw on the Twitterverse and all that stuff. Like, where's the first party games? Everything was third party, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yes, I get it. There's a lot of studios, and it's like, what's up with them? Like, what are they working on? Like, where the heck is Everwild? Like, that game was announced back how long ago, and they still haven't shown any real gameplay about it. So it's I could see how people are disappointed, because they're looking for their game to be announced, and it wasn't.
And it's a very Nintendo-esque thing to do, of saying all of these games are going to be released in the next 12 months. Mm-hmm. So we're not seeing, if there's a game that's 14 months out, they weren't showing it today. No. So Everwild could be, they're like, yeah, we're going to release this game. It's going to be out in 15 months. And they were like, nah, not making the cut. Sorry. Like, and that's, I'm sure there was someone behind the scenes being like, we've got like megatons coming out in the next 16 months. Why can't we just drop this? Yeah. And someone made that decision to be like, no, this is the very Nintendo thing to do. And Nintendo will do that all the time. These are available in the next 6 months or the next year or whatever. And like, for better or for worse, they did that. But I think it was the right call, because it's something tangible. And people who have been saying online, where's the Xbox games? What games why should I keep a Game Pass subscription? Here's why. Because this is the next 12 months, and you've got a list of games that you're going to find something on it. So you're going to, if you pay full price for, let's say, 2 or 3 of these games. Well, there's your Game Pass subscription paid for over the next 12 months. It's worthwhile. Go resubscribe, right? Like that's, I think it has to be their thinking here, because they didn't look too much more forward than the immediate, like, this is why you subscribe for the next year. Here you go.
Yeah.
Have fun.
And I think they got burnt by the Starfield and the Redfall announcements being released this year. And it was like, oops. So they're like, all right, we know these games are coming out and there's no delay. So we're going to release them, show them to the audience.
And they didn't, and a lot of people were thinking they were going to open up the war chest and say, we're going to buy a big AAA and make it day and date this fall. So we have something big to tout. And they didn't. So that means they're confident. It means that they're okay of taking kind of an L this fall in regards to having, versus last year where they had like a big game almost every quarter, which was a big deal. I mean, they really lit the sky up and said, we're going to deliver. So, it is the world the way it is. But they also had in this conference, they had a little bit of a middle finger to Nintendo and say, oh, Silksong, guess what? It's coming. And it's going to be free on Game Pass. And Persona, yeah, Sony, you got that game, yeah, it's coming to us too. And so they did enough that they could bring in certain audiences maybe they haven't courted before. So I mean, it was a good showing, and makes you feel like you're not going to love every game, but I guarantee there's going to be a game you can play and enjoy, and it'll be your new favorite game because you probably haven't seen it before, and it's free to try.
Yeah, just the variety of games was just really cool to see. It wasn't just like a third-person story game.
No,
5 times over. And I was like, cool. Yeah. I'm down with that.
So, Chris, where would you rank this one?
I'm going to say it's 4.5 for me. Yeah,
it was
a pretty solid show.
4 or 5 or 4.5. Not a perfect showing, but my favorite one so far. Todd?
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 4 because I did want that one big thing, because the way they ended the show was what we expected. So yeah. But I mean, it makes me very excited to see what's coming next. And so Mark, and where did you land?
I said 4.5. Like I'm leaning more towards like the 4 side of it. Like you said, I was waiting for that. Like even something as simple as like we're re-releasing GoldenEye or something like that. Like there were enough announcements that this was my favorite one that I've seen so far. So if I rated something else at a 4, this is at least a 4.2, just to put it a tiny bit above, right? Like I don't know, it's definitely not a perfect 5, but somewhere in between that 4 and 4.5. But it's my favorite one so far of this summer of gaming Keighley 3 showcase festivusness stuff.
E3vis for the rest of us. Now, Mark, if they had puppets, that'd be a 4.5. But, Nintendo's decided puppets aren't allowed back. Before we move on, we had someone who didn't show up this year, or so far, Nintendo. So just really gauging, do you think Nintendo will have a June event? And if not, do they need one?
I think they will. Personally, I mean, maybe not a June event, but we're gonna have a summer event. I mean, we have to, right? Like, it's just gonna happen. But Nintendo marches to the beat of their weird little Wii drummer, and that's Nintendo's gonna do what Nintendo's gonna do, right? So
Ravi drums.
Ravi drums they're marching. I mean, with Nintendo, this could be announced. Like we're dropping this up. We're recording Monday. By the time it's dropped on Wednesday, Nintendo could already have something announced for Friday. And there we go. Like I just said, I'm looking forward to the Assassin's Creed thing. That's happening tomorrow and was announced a couple hours ago. Like I saw that this afternoon, and it's already, we're like, 14
infinite
away from an Assassin's Creed celebration stream, whatever the hell that means. But that's literally like 24 hours notice. So Nintendo could pull that same kind of move and just be like, yeah, you know what, we're dropping a 30-minute long showcase of the rest of our year, or the exact same as Microsoft did, like tune in for 40 minutes of our next 12 months. Nintendo do it. Like I don't like it's just gonna happen, whether it's June or early July. But I think sooner rather than later is a safe bet.
One thing I was just wondering, because they announced it early in the year with the Ubisoft and Game Pass partnership, and where Rainbow Six Extraction it was like the first thing that came out. I think, and recently was it Assassin's Creed Origins? Just came out. But like I thought the whole Ubisoft Plus library was supposed to be coming to Xbox. What happened to that?
Yeah, they're supposed to announce Ubisoft Plus is supposed to be coming to PlayStation and Xbox. They haven't announced when. We did get those the Ubisoft Classics as part of PlayStation Premium, I believe. But yeah, I'm not sure if they're rethinking their approach to that, but that's supposed to happen. But it wasn't going to be part of Game Pass. So, and they normally charge $15 a month on PC. So I don't know. I mean, I think they may be saying, well, we don't have a lot in our chamber of new releases on Ubisoft, and that might be part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll hear a little bit about it tomorrow. But if we don't hear about it tomorrow, I'm thinking Todd's right. I'm thinking it's dead or at least being rewritten.
We'll see. It'll be fun. Oh, well. Yeah. And then we've got the Xbox extended showcase coming on Tuesday, which essentially will be similar to last year, where they'll just go deeper dive, talk to devs, things like that. But they may have some surprises because they didn't talk about Halo at all. Like, what is happening with Halo next? We don't know. We're supposed to getting co-op and a roadmap for new content, and that's been kind of quiet, and potentially a battle royale. So maybe they give us we're getting a Halo event in July, maybe. So we'll see.
It's funny because I read someone on Twitter was like, there's more Halo content coming up for other games than Halo itself.
No, slam.
Yeah, it was just because like Fall Guys has like Halo stuff that apparently
it does. Okay, nice.
And like you said, the Flight Simulator has the Halo, the Pelican, stuff like that. So it's like, all right, cool, but where's the stuff in Halo?
Brutal.
It's a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Apparently. Well, folks. By the time you listen to this, Turtles will be out to play on Thursday. If you've got Game Pass or any other system, please play it. Have fun. And 6-player co-op, we probably need to get a Discord team to play this together to kick some shell.
Shell, yeah.
All right.
I don't have any shell things.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, shell shocked. Well, with that, we are done with this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the journey on our enjoyment of what is not E3, but it's as good as we got right now. So we had a good time. Chris, thank you for joining. Before we leave, tell people where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at TC1H1D, and our podcasts are on pretty much all podcast platforms, and our YouTube stuff is actually on the Quit the Build network now. So check those guys out. They're great, and they have also some great content there. And you got me on the Discord too. So I mean, I'm on your guys' Discord, so that's always fun. I'm definitely excited to play TMNT Shredder's Revenge with you guys if you're up for it. So
Cowabunga. Excellent. Mark, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram as _Canardian, or you can find me on Xbox and Switch. Xbox playing TMNT soon as just Canardian. So add me there and let's kick some shell.
Excellent. You can follow me at TExtra on Twitter, having a good time. And if you would like to be on our podcast, let us know. We're always looking for great guests to join us. So if you have recommendations, we'd love to have them on the show. You can follow me on gaming if you want to game with me. Spartyon98 on Xbox and Switch, and Spartyon1998 on PSN. And I will be playing Turtles on Xbox as well. So let's get it going. So that is it, Mark. Chris, was a pleasure. And remember, folks, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.